7th of February. February, always a weird word, isn't it? We have a few games. I think we have 7. We do. We have 7 games to go through. Not really a lot of news coming in overnight. Ben Simmons is likely going to be bought out by the Nets. We will discuss that. What does it mean? Doesn't mean much. But we'll discuss it anyway. Possibly some players making their team debuts tonight. Let's get into everything. This is the Friday pregame show. Let's go balls deep.
I'm the type to get shit done. You the type to observe. March Madness on my speakers, but today's November 23rd. Got something loud in the blunt, yeah. I don't say what I want, yeah. Probably somewhere sunny getting tan. Foreign women in the sun, yeah. That's all that I need. That's all that I need. That's all that I need. Got my brothers with me. Got my brothers with me and my mama's healthy. That's all that I need.
Welcome to the Balls Deep podcast, brought to you by Fantasy Basketball International. I'm Adam King. Find me on Twitter and Blue Sky at AdamKing91. We are on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, anywhere, everywhere you consume fantasy basketball content. We are also part of the Old Man Squad at Old Man Squad on Twitter. All right, we'll get into the 7 games. Just reading through stuff as I do when I wake up. The Charlotte Hornets are signing Elfrid Payton to a 10-day contract. Okay. Did he have a triple-double for the Pelicans? I don't know. I remember he was on radars for that very short amount of time. So keep an eye on that. I mean, if he comes in and for whatever reason plays meaningful minutes, we know that LaMelo Ball is not a picture of health. We'll see. I'm not doing anything at this stage, obviously. Torrey Craig signed with the Celtics after being waived. We're not doing anything with that news either. Ben Simmons won't be a Net. He is going to be bought out, which brings to an end that sort of weird relationship. He will be signed. I mean, he's still a good player. So, rumours. He will meet with the Cavs. He will meet with the Clippers. I'm sure he'll have other teams interested. Who does he go to? It probably doesn't matter. It will likely be a contender, I would think, and they are not bringing him in to play him 30 minutes, I don't think. So I don't think we need to do anything with this news, really. And then we had a couple of two-way contracts being converted, that sort of thing, but nothing, again, substantial. Oh, I'll get my yawn out of the way, as I do early in the morning, Saturday morning. Let's get into the games. First game of the night, the Cleveland Cavaliers heading to Washington. For Cleveland, Donovan Mitchell has been upgraded to available. DeAndre Hunter not cleared to make his debut. Most of the trade people, the guys that were moved in trades, will not be playing today. We do have a few that are questionable. We'll see what happens there. But look, for the Cavs, with no Karis LeVert there, obviously, with no George Niang, they are against Washington. Ty Jerome, worth a look tonight, I think. Especially if this is a blowout. Even if it's not, I think he could play decent minutes here because they did eliminate some of that depth and they don't have DeAndre Hunter in there yet and Sam Merrill is out. So for the Wizards, Alex Sarr remains out. Rashawn Holmes is questionable. If Holmes is unavailable, it's Vukcevic time, I would assume. I am not a fortune teller or a person or someone that can see into the future. But Vukcevic is really their best option here. Alex Len, not cleared to play yet. They're trade guys, Chris Middleton, Marcus Smart, they're not playing. So I would seriously consider Vukcevic tonight. It's obviously not a favourable matchup up against Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley, but he is worth a look. Make sure Bilal Coulibaly is rostered. If you want to give Bub Carrington, Keyshawn George a look tonight, I'm not sure they are going to be rosterable players, especially if Middleton and Smart feature in this rotation and play meaningful minutes. Malcolm Brogdon is questionable. He'll be questionable all season. If you need points and threes, Corey Kispert could also be worth a look there. All right, San Antonio at Charlotte. Now, we know De'Aaron Fox has already played for this team, so we know, based on one game, what this starting lineup looks like, and that is Chris Paul alongside De'Aaron Fox with Steph Castle moving to the bench. Castle played 20 minutes in the last game. If you held him just for one more to see what happens, I think that's fine, but I do think he's a drop. Jeremy Sohan's minutes increased. Again, I'd like to see him starting, but I'm not sure it'll happen. But if he can push close to 30 minutes, he has to be rostered. For the Hornets, LaMelo Ball, questionable. Still no, well, I believe, let me double check, but still nothing. No, still nothing on LaMelo, whether he will play or not. Dalton Knecht and Yusuf Nurkic, both questionable to play. So we'll see. We'll see what this looks like. I'd like to see them play just so we can get an idea of the minute split between Diabate and Nurkic. Diabate has been announced as the starter, which means Nurkic, I think, is probably going to top out at about 20 minutes, maybe 22. I don't think they push Diabate into a 34-minute role or anything like that. But in terms of Nurkic, probably not the ad we had speculated he might be following the news yesterday, assuming that he comes off the bench and stays on the bench, which, again, we don't have an idea of what will happen there. Is he rosterable? You could take a flyer on him and see. I think 22 minutes is probably enough. Diabate, if you added him following the Mark Williams trade, I think you'll be okay. I think, I think if he plays 28 minutes, he'll be double-digit rebounds, 2 combined steals and blocks, and talked about this on the crossover with Matty G and D-Mac last night. I think his offense will come around a little bit. He's really had zero opportunity to actually develop as part of this rotation. So, I think that's fine. Who are we looking at for streaming? We didn't actually talk about that. Nick Smith, sure. Diabate should be added. Look, if Alfred Payton's going to come in here, I guess this is perhaps an indication that they're not super comfortable running KJ Simpson, Isaiah Wong yet. With Vasily Micic gone, they were the presumed backup point guards. Maybe it will be Alfred Payton. And, I mean, if LaMelo's healthy, probably not a ton of value there for Payton, but if and when LaMelo misses time, he could be a nice streaming target, I think. All right, Miami at Brooklyn. Rolling down. For Miami, no Andrew Wiggins yet. Sorry, I forgot his name. No Andrew Wiggins yet. Basically, the trade guys aren't in yet. So Highsmith will remain. Look, we know what the roster looks like because they've been playing with this roster for the last month. Highsmith, we don't need to worry about him. Jovic should be rostered. Rozier, probably not tonight, sure. Duncan Robinson tonight, sure. But once Wiggins is there, if Kyle Anderson gets minutes, which I think he might, seems like a Heat kind of a guy to me, so he could get minutes. For Brooklyn, of course, no Ben Simmons. He's, out forever from Brooklyn. No Cam Thomas. The usual injuries here. Claxton is playing. He's sort of in and out a little bit, but he will play tonight. Probably only plays 26 minutes with Day'Ron Sharpe playing 20-ish. Keon Johnson has been probably the most consistent, so I would be rostering him. Cam Johnson, Nick Claxton. Then you probably go with your Day'Ron Sharpe because even though his minutes aren't super high, he's productive most nights. So I'm okay just holding him, still viewing him as a bit of a stash. And then you've got D'Angelo, Zaire Williams, Ebwoma, Tyrese Martin, Jalen Wilson. Take your pick. Good luck. Philadelphia at Detroit. For Philly, Embiid playing, Paul George playing, Quentin Grimes available to play. So we assume he's playing. So pretty healthy lineup here. So actually a good, no Drummond, but he's not really crucial for them. But we'll get a good look here at what Quentin Grimes' role might look like. It's first game in, so it's probably not 100% this is what we're getting from him moving forward. I think he should be their sixth man. Whether they view him that way, I'm not sure. Yabusele, he's questionable. If he plays, I'd probably hold him here. With no Drummond, he should get minutes. Grimes, I don't mind taking a bit of a flyer. If he can push to 30 minutes, as I've said multiple occasions, he's better than Eric Gordon. He's better than Kyle Lowry, Ricky Council, these guys. So I hope he gets 30. For the Pistons, Tobias Harris is probable, as is Malik Beasley. Schroeder won't play. I do think when he is available, he will play a role. It could range anywhere from minutes in the sort of low 20s up to 30, depending on what they want to do with Tim Hardaway as a starter, and then how much they want to use Ron Holland, Marcus Sasser, or do they just move Schroeder ahead of those guys in the rotation? Hardaway's fine for tonight if you need threes, especially if Beasley is out. Asar Thompson, also fine to roster. We know he's a little bit limited in what he does and the minutes that he gets, but he's still, I think, doing enough. Milwaukee at Atlanta. Kyle Kuzma is questionable to make his debut. No Middleton, obviously. Lillard, probable. Giannis, questionable. Lopez, probable. So we could get any number of rotational changes here, depending on who's available. Lillard will probably play, as will Lopez. Giannis has missed, I think, did he miss the last game or maybe the one before? So there's a chance he misses here. With no Middleton coming off the bench, there's a little bit more to go around at the moment. Gary Trent, AJ Green, if you need threes. If Giannis is out, obviously we have to make sure Bobby Portis is rostered, but he probably is. As for Kuzma, where do I see him? I think he's probably top 100, maybe. 16 points, some rebounds, a couple of threes. Basically what Middleton was giving us, but in more minutes. Obviously, if Giannis doesn't play, there's more offense to go around. But I don't think Kuzma is going to be this game-changing league winner or anything like that. Probably rosterable, but also only fits specific builds. For Atlanta, Trae Young continues to be probable. Risa Shea, a little bit like Kuzma, I think. He's sort of a pretty empty, maybe 20 points a game, 18 points a game. Fine, if that suits you and fits what you need. With DeAndre Hunter gone, who do we see starting? Do we see Dominic Barlow? He has started. Do we see Larry Nance? I think there's a chance we could see Larry Nance if Giannis plays, because they will need some size if they want to compete. And where does Karis LeVert fit in? He is questionable to play. He could start, and they could shuffle people around, play Karis LeVert at the small forward spot. I think they might bring him off the bench as a sixth man, but it could chop and change depending on the opponent as well. So Nance could be worth a little look tonight. He's not going to play, even if he starts, probably won't play minutes more than about 24 or 25, but that can be enough, as we know, with Larry Nance. And Vit Krejci is sort of just fading a little bit here. I think I have him in 116-team league, and I'll hold him. But yeah, certainly not. His arrow isn't pointed in the best direction, let's say that. Toronto at OKC. Toronto, Brandon Ingram is out. Now, he's been ruled out with an ankle injury, not the trade. So we will assume he is just still dealing with that ankle injury. Honestly, it's probably a bit of not politics, that's not the right word, but I think it would be very weird if Toronto were just to make him available straight away. That would sort of indicate then that the Pelicans were just sitting on him and waiting, which we probably know they were, but they don't want to make it that obvious, I guess. So Emmanuel quickly is available to play. No Pirtle, no Barrett, no Olynyk because he's gone. So I'm not sure who they're going to start here. I would assume quickly will start. Grady Dick will start. Scotty Barnes will start. They're probably the only three guaranteed. Who do they start at centre? It could be Chris Boucher against Hartenstein. Oof. Could be Orlando Robinson. I'd love it to be Orlando Robinson. If he can get 20 minutes, 25 minutes, I think he's a sneaky pickup for tonight. Jonathan Mobo, look, he can play small ball centre, but again, against Hartenstein, Chet is available as well, remember? So they are coming up against a sizable team here. Jacoby Walter, look, he does stuff. Both he and Jamal Shed, I think, are worth considering, just given the players that are out here and the players they lost at the deadline. Whereas for the Thunder, Cason Wallace is out, so that makes Aaron Wiggins someone to look at. But beyond that, with Holmgren back, Jalen Williams probably won't play or very limited. And then we've got our normal, usual streaming targets of Alex Caruso, Isaiah Joe, and Lou Dort to some degree. Lou Dort's probably just slightly above stream level at the moment until Cason Wallace is back. And the last game of the night, the Utah Jazz against the Phoenix Suns. Utah, as we know, they didn't make any moves at the deadline, which was disappointing for us and probably for Jazz fans as well. Colin Sexton remains out. Jordan Clarkson also out tonight. So Isaiah Collier, make sure he's rostered. He should be. Svi Mikhailuk, he can pop off, give you maybe 3 or 4 threes. He's not overly appealing, but he's fine. And then with Markkanen available, with Collins available, our Sensabaugh, Filipowski, Juzang, Potter, those guys, probably not enough here to go around. For Phoenix, no, Yusuf Nurkic wasn't in the rotation anyway. Nick Richards, he's been pretty disappointing the last little bit. He's still a decent source of rebounds. Blocks are serviceable. He's efficient, but he doesn't shoot the ball much. I think he's sort of a hold, but also fine if you want to move on from him and grab like a Diabate or something like that. Tyus Jones, likewise, he's sort of giving you bits of what he should, which is assists and steals, but I don't see him as a must-roster player either. Grayson Allen, if you need threes. Royce O'Neal, sure. Yeah. Against Utah, hypothetically, he could have a good game here. If Kevin Durant's out, that obviously sort of opens up a lot more for guys like Royce O'Neal and Ryan Dunn. So, sure. All right. Some questions. Not too many. That's good. Yes, Jimmy Middleton is not playing. No, the Wizards guys are not debuting tonight, which that's actually not that surprising. Is Nurkic playing? He might play, but in your league, I wouldn't be holding him, not if he's coming off the bench. Who would be a good streamer? Ooh. Look, if Hardaway doesn't play, Beasley might be a good streamer in a points league tonight. Tobias has been playing well. Or you could trade Nurkic for Musa. Points league Musa, I don't think he's a great option. He's good in category leagues, as I said, rebounds, some defensive stuff, but he's not really going to score. Doesn't get any assists. Shining Knight. Sorry for all the Beal and Vassell questions. Who should I target for them? I was looking into Paolo or Zion. That is ambitious. I mean, Paolo hasn't been playing that well, but I think whoever's got him rostered is still high enough on him that they are going to want a pretty good haul back. Look, Beal and Vassell are probably top sort of 70 players, top 80. So I think you could maybe get a top 50, top 40 player. Yeah, I mean, look for guys, if you've got the Basketball Monster ranks, projections, I think you get the projections if you pay. You get the ranks. The ranks are free. So, look, a good way, obviously, of finding some value in a trade like this is to have a look at player ranks. And, I mean, you get pretty familiar with player ranks. So you could look at someone and go, oh, yeah, okay, I know he's a top 50 player or a top 70 player. Turn on your punts. So if you're punting threes and free throws, turn them on. Have a look at, I think there's a category, it's only memory here, but I think there is a column that you can have on that will tell you what their shift is based on the punt. And then you can sort by that. So if you do that, you can actually sort by which players gain the most in a certain punt. So punting threes and free throws, turn the punts on, enter those, sort by the punt change or the value change, and then you get an idea. And then you can run down that list and go, okay, I know this guy is a top 60 player, but in my punt build, he's actually a top 30 player. So that's probably a way of not fooling someone into a trade, because it's still a fair trade, but feeling like you walk away a winner because you're getting someone who fits what you're looking for rather than just overall rank. Okay, Chinchilla in a points league. I think Matty G changed my text here on the screen. It looks different. I don't know what he did. That's why the show was late, actually, because he played with I was like, my head was in a circle. It was weird. I had to figure out how to change it. I'm obviously not that tech savvy. In a points league, would it be wise to trade Bilal and maybe Jovic for Hartenstein or Amen? Need a spot for LaMelo. Jovic and Hartenstein feel like possible losses. Yes, I'd be okay with that. Yep. Amen's been a beast. Just some chatter here about the Pelicans and whether we trust them. I don't know if the Pelicans trust themselves at this point. Who would I rather stream for field goal percentages today? Question from Johnson. Dayron Sharp or whoever starts at center for Washington or anyone else? All right, let's have a look. Let me make this smaller so I can actually... all right, field goal percentage today. Yeah, look, I mean, Dayron Sharp is someone to consider. Diabate, but he's probably not available to stream. He wouldn't be in a 14-team league, I don't think. I think that, look, of players that are available, there's obviously a lot of good players, but of players that are available to stream, I would say, look, Mason Plumlee is someone that could be an option. Don't know what his minutes have been like, but Nick Richards isn't playing starters minutes. He's not playing 30 plus. So the last, where's the game log? He just doesn't shoot much. But, I mean, Plumlee, the last few games, he's played 18 minutes, 21 minutes, 17, 15, 15, 26. Field goal percentage is generally pretty good, but he also only shoots like maybe 2 shots a game. So that's sort of risky. Dayron Sharp tends to be a little more aggressive offensively. So I think you're probably right going with him. Orlando Robinson is another one. If we get depending on how late you can stream and pick up here, if you're in a Yahoo league and you can wait until you don't have to sort of have made all your moves before the opening game, then yeah, I think if we get an idea of who Toronto are going to start, Chris Boucher, he's not particularly efficient for a big guy, but Orlando Robinson maybe. Yeah, they're probably the guys. Larry Nance, again, if we get word that he is going to start, could be someone. So I think there's a few names there. Shining Knight, so I reckon top 50 or 40 with your punt. Yeah, look, I think so. I think if you could get a top 50 player who in your punt build is maybe a top 30 player, look, I can even probably give you a very quick. All right, so top. So 9-cat league, and what are you punting? Points and free throws. Where is it? Oh yeah, punting. Oh, threes and free throws. Okay, threes and free throws. Punt. Yeah, so you want to look at the gain from punting column. So if I do turn those categories on, and I sort by that, and I look at players that get bumps who are in that range, depending on categories you need, other categories you need. Zion is a good one in that build, obviously, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know whether you would get him for those two guys. Paolo also fits that build. So you're on the right track in terms of the players you're looking at. A lot of centers, obviously, Walker Kessler might be someone you could get. But you're taking a big hit in points here. Like if you're getting rid of Vassell and Beal, they're both 15 plus, and you get someone like a Kessler back, you're getting maybe 12. So Jared Allen, yeah, it's a lot of centers. If you're looking at players who aren't those sort of prototypical shot blocking but low point centers. Dyson Daniels is an interesting one if you need some steals and a guard eligible player. So that's what you could do. That's what I usually do in those sort of situations. All right, let's have a look. Is Matas Buzelis worth a pickup in a 9-cat 10-team league? I think borderline. He's probably top 90, best case top 80, which makes him back end of a 10-team league. But yeah, certainly in a 10-team league, the waivers are usually a little bit better, obviously, than a 12-team league. So if you want to take a chance on him and see, give him 2 or 3 games, and then if he's playing at top 100 level, you could sort of just view him as a waiver wire guy. Is Isaiah Hartenstein going to be a drop soon? No. Shining Knight. Yeah, we all blame Matty G. Very good. What are my thoughts on Tristan Vukcevic rest of season? Look, I'm hoping he plays the backup behind Alex Sarr. That's the issue for him is the fact that their starting centre is a rookie who isn't contributing to winning. So there's no reason for them to shut Sarr down, I don't think. But I think we might reach a point where they just go, okay, we've seen enough from Sarr. We know he's a good player. We know what he brings. Vukcevic is still a bit untapped. So, I think in terms of an ad, you have to be in a pretty deep league at the moment, but we may reach a point where he is a 12-team guy. All right, Danny asks, for Justin Edwards and Day'Ron Sharp rest of season, are they 12-team guys or just streaming options? Day'Ron Sharp, I could see having very back-end value. Obviously, if the time comes and he's starting or playing 25 minutes, he would be an ad. I think his upside, his path to minutes is a lot clearer and easier than Justin Edwards. I know Edwards has been playing well and he's been playing minutes, but I just don't think the Sixers are ready to throw it in yet. So I would prefer Sharp over Justin Edwards there. Johnson is on Yahoo and Orlando Robinson is listed as NA. What does that even mean on Yahoo? I want to look him up now. Players. Not active. All right. Does that mean he's... When was that? Oh, okay. So, all right. Oh, that came out at like 3:20 this morning. Okay, I wasn't aware of that. Okay, so his 10-day contract ended. Okay. All right. Well, they're going to need to re-sign him then. So don't add him at the moment. But with Kelly Olynyk gone, I mean, it would make sense for me for them to add him, but they may have their eyes on another player here. So, all right, good pickup. Thank you for letting. Not that I wasn't adding him anywhere, but good to know. If George Niang starts in Atlanta and gets around 25 to 28, do I like him as an ad? I don't think so. He's really just threes, nothing else. So no, I don't think so. Do I see Kelly Olynyk starting in New Orleans, or is Matkovic the stronger ad? I think at the moment I would prefer Matkovic based on what we know. Kelly Olynyk, obviously, if he could, for whatever reason, just play 30 minutes and start, that would be amazing. But, yeah, it is. They're one of the teams that I'm waiting to see. So at the moment, I prefer Matkovic. I actually added Matkovic. Who did I drop? I think I dropped Derek Jones in a league and picked up Matkovic just to see what he can do. And one from Rainier. Australian all-time golden five. So I'm assuming you mean who are my 5 favourite Australian players of all time? Maybe. Well, I have to have Dyson in there, don't I? I mean, he's still very young in his career, but surely I have to have Dyson in there, the impact he's having at the moment. So I'd have Patty Mills in there for sure. Let's go Patty, Dyson. Probably, I'm thinking centre now. It's either Bogut or Luke Longley. That's pretty tough. Longley or Bogut. I'd probably only have one of them, though, because I'd have Andrew Gaze in there. And I mean, there's a lot of the current, like Joe Ingles. He's been a very good player for us. Shane Heal was very good back in the 90s as well. And if we go back even further, Phil Smythe. I used to love Phil Smythe. Maybe it's Shane Heal. I don't know. I mean, Dyson, at this point, I don't think I would have Dyson in there. As much as I love him, he's so young. So I'd probably go Patty Mills. I'd probably go... good point, Galahad. Josh Giddey. At this point, no. Ben Simmons, no. He's never even played for Australia, really. So, no, I think I'd go Patty Mills, maybe Shane Heal, Andrew Gaze. Gaze is a guard, but he's tall. So you could, in my mind, I'm going to throw him in as the wing and a ball-handling wing, like a LeBron kind of thing. And then I'd probably go, I'd probably go Longley over Bogut. And yeah, maybe Joe Ingles. I don't know. That 4th spot is tough. Or 5th spot, sorry. I don't know. It's a good question. I think I'd have to go back through and look at Australian sort of all-time players, because even going back again into the 80s, 90s, Vlahoff was very good during his time there. So I'd have to go and look. Dellavedova, I'm not a Dellavedova fan. I know he's been a good player, but yeah, I just think to some degree he's just got by on the fact that he's just an annoying defender. He has had a very good career, obviously, but I wouldn't have him, I don't think, above Paddy. And I guess I'm thinking here more from the perspective of what they've done for Australian basketball. And Paddy Mills, I think, has to be top of the list because he's been phenomenal. Andrew Gaze has to be there. I think they're the two that are no sort of questions for me. Gaze, Paddy Mills. And that's sort of where I lean with Luke Longley as well, just because of what he did for Australian basketball in the 90s with the Bulls. And I know he wasn't a standout player for the Bulls, but he was a very important piece for them. And he sort of put Australian basketball back on the map, I think. So they'd probably be the three that I'd have in there. And then there's a whole lot of other names that you could have. Dante Exum. A question. It's not an Australian question, but do I think he sticks as a starter? No, I don't. No. I will assume they go with Kyrie, Klay Thompson, PJ Washington, Anthony Davis, Daniel Gafford. They could shuffle it a bit if they're against if it's a small ball kind of a lineup. Maybe they bring him in and shift Klay to the 3, PJ to the 4, and AD to the 5. But I'm not. I don't think he's going to be a regular starter. No. All right. That's all the questions. Yeah, it was just Australian chat. All right. Grocery shopping time. I'm going to go and do that. Get a coffee. Start my Saturday. I will be back with a post-game show later today. Go and do all the stuff that I always ask. I'm not even going to go through it. I'm Adam King. This has been the Balls Deep pre-game show. Until next time. Catch ya.
You just listened to another episode from the Fantasy Basketball International Podcast Network. Thanks for joining us. And for more information about joining our community, please check out our website at fbibasketball.com.